Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state police, state troopers, militia, the rangers, or the highway patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state law. When any crime is committed, law enforcement agencies have a uniform procedure in handling the crime and apprehending the guilty man. One prime consideration in uncovering the criminal is the motive. But on May 8th, a vicious murder made to look wanton and useless concealed a motive of greed.
Want a lift?
Thanks. How far are you going?
Oh, I'm going pretty far. All right, my friend. Get out of the car.
Well, I don't have any money.
Just get up. Now pick up your stuff. Atta boy. Now just get over there away from the car.
What?
.3016 to headquarters.
Headquarters by.
My 1020 is 1/2 mile north of the Mountain Cafe on Highway 40. I just found the body of Jefferson Carson. He's been shot twice.
This is Matthews. Is that Carson the fainter?
That's right. And one thing else. Before he died, he sketched a picture. Might be his assailant.
I'll be right out.
10-4.
Oh, do sit down, Malcolm.
How can you be so calm at a time like this?
I've been patient for 6 years. I can wait a few more hours.
Let me see the sketch.
Found it right there on the highway.
Could you sketch this earlier?
I don't think so. There's blood here, and the charcoal looks fresh.
Description of the car on the bottom, too.
I found it over on the highway. He must have tossed it up there just before he died.
Why would anybody want to kill Carson? Everybody liked him up here.
There's his wallet. It was empty.
It was a robbery. Did he have a lot of money?
Now, he couldn't have had much. From all I heard, he never had any money. Never sold a painting. I know he spent a lot of time at the Mountain Cafe.
Mountain Cafe. Come on, let's go. You know, we got something to go on. This place looks familiar to me.
Yeah, it does.
The motive doesn't add up. Why should a guy kill another guy just for a couple of bucks in his wallet? Get an ambulance out here right away.
3016 to headquarters.
Headquarters by.
Send an ambulance and coroner to our 1020.
Tell him we'll be at the Mountain Cafe.
We'll be at the Mountain Cafe, 10-4.
10-4.
What about relatives?
Never heard him mention anybody.
Taters sometimes use different names. Run a fingerprint check on him. Have the lab boys get on it right away.
Operator, let me have the long-distance operator, please. I want to make a person-to-person call to Mrs. Blanche Cronin in Circle City. Oh, yeah. 22687 is the number. Thank you.
Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Blanche Cronin. It's Granger. Hello. Yes, I hear you.
This is your friend from down south, Mrs. Cronin. I just called to offer my deepest condolences.
You're quite sure?
What do you want, a written guarantee? Just watch the papers.
Well, that's over.
What do we do now?
Wait until they notify me of my husband's death.
They better do it soon. I can't stand this much longer.
Pull yourself together.
It's just that I've never been accessory to a murder before.
Have you forgotten what he did to me? Playing dead all these years. Well, now he is dead. Can't you see the poetic justice of it?
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm Matthews, Highway Patrol.
Anything wrong?
You know Jeff Carson?
Sure do. He's been coming around here for over 3 years.
Well, he's dead. He was shot and robbed just down the road.
Oh, no. I'll do anything I can to help. We were good friends.
What about his other friends?
Oh, Jeff liked everybody, and everybody liked him. But friends. I don't guess he had any other friends except me. He was sort of a lone wolf. Kept to himself and his painting. That was everything to Jeff, his painting.
Where do you live?
Oh, he's got a shack near the village, down by the lake. You go down this road, turn left, and it's the first cabin.
What about his relatives? Do you know where he came from before he came here?
No, I used to be curious. I'd ask him questions, but he wouldn't answer. I figured he wanted it that way, so I stopped asking.
All right, tell me something. Were you and Carson fond of each other?
Yes, but we didn't get around to talking about it.
Well, I'm sorry about Carson. We might call you again. Thanks very much. I'm Matthews, Highway Patrol. Who are you and what are you doing here?
Highway Patrol? What on earth is wrong? I mean, I came to bring Jeff some good news. I sold 2 of his paintings. I'm Claude Wynn. I own the art shop in the village.
Why don't you sell them?
Late yesterday afternoon, Mr. Alex Dupree of Circle City. I sent him one of Jeff's paintings about a month ago. He was so impressed that he drove up yesterday. But what's wrong?
Carson was murdered.
Mr. Wynn, what did you know about him?
I only know that his was a great talent. One day these canvases will be worth a great deal. His style was unique, distinctive.
What about friends or relatives?
He never mentioned anyone. I always had the feeling that he was hiding, that he didn't want people to know anything about him.
This Dupree guy, what's his address?
I have his check here. I meant to come over last night, but my wife wasn't well.
I'm going to keep this for evidence for the time being, that is.
How did it happen, Mr. Matthews?
They were shot and robbed.
Robbed? Why, Jeff never had more than a few dollars.
You recognize this guy?
No. I'm sure of it. And Jeff drew that, so it's an accurate likeness.
How do you know Carson drew it?
Style. Most anyone would recognize his work.
Thanks for your help.
The paintings, what happens to them?
Well, we look for relatives. There's got to be relatives someplace.
When you find an error, would you let me know? I'd like to buy these.
We'll be in touch with you.
All the papers I found have the name Jefferson Carson.
Yeah, but murdered, and I don't buy robbery as the motive. Let's go back to headquarters. We'll pick up that waitress. We need positive identification.
Blanche, the phone.
Yes? No, I'm sorry. You have the wrong number.
How long is it going to take?
Who knows? They have Carlton's fingerprints. They'll get fingerprints from the body. They'll check.
Everything's been so easy. Now this.
You mean the waiting? It's a pleasure now. He's dead.
What if they don't check the fingerprints? What if we had him killed for nothing?
Oh, we'll take care of that if it happens. But it won't happen. The police are very thorough.
Thorough, yes. Maybe thorough enough to find us. What we did.
Nonsense. They'll never connect us with the murder. We paid cash to Granger.
And these are Jeff Carson's prints.
Yeah, it's the same guy, all right. Give me a rundown, will you?
Well, he was a manufacturer in Circle City. Disappeared under circumstances indicating suicide. Clothes were found on the Morgan River Bridge, but he was never officially declared dead. His wife, Blanche Cronin, lives at 4343 Pearl Street.
Is that a phone number?
Yes, right here.
This is Matthews. I want to call her Mrs. Blanche Cronin. Circle City. What's that number again? Thanks. 22687. Yeah, that's right. The waitress identified the body?
Yeah, that's pretty tough on her. Williams. Okay, thanks. They couldn't identify the man on the sketch locally. They telephoned it to Washington.
Why should a guy run out on his wife and his business and try and change his identity?
Maybe he wanted to be a painter and his wife wouldn't let him. It says in the report that the wife listed painting as a husband's hobby to help the police find him. Even won prizes for his painting at art school.
The disappearing act did him no good.
You think the murder could be connected with something in his past life?
Forget the robbery motive, I'd say yeah. Matthews. Oh, thanks. Oh, Mrs. Cronin, this is Matthews, Highway Patrol. We have some information about your husband.
Highway Patrol? But that's impossible. My husband committed suicide years ago.
I'm sorry to say this. He was very much alive until this morning when he was murdered.
Murdered? Oh, no.
Can you come down to patrol headquarters right away?
Yes, I'll drive right down. I told you all we'd have to do is wait and they'd send for me. Fingerprints never lie, you know. Oh, Malcolm, what's worrying you now?
The man you hired to do the job might take it into his head to blackmail us.
Relax. He can't expose us without exposing himself, now can he?
Sam Matthews had one solid clue in the death of Jefferson Carson, formerly Carlton Cronin. He had a portrait of death, a drawing of the killer.
I've gotten some more information on Cronin. There's an insurance policy in his life for $150,000.
Now we're getting to a motive for the murder.
His wife's been keeping up the payments until he's declared legally dead.
This front page ought to get us some action. That is, if Cronin was as good an artist as Wynn said he was.
You know, there is something familiar about that face.
Yeah, I feel the same thing. You sure there's nothing in the mug books?
Not the local ones.
The guy in the sketch is Nick Granger. Just had a call from the police in Marionville. He used to be Harry Vincent's bodyguard. Spent 2 years in prison for income tax evasion. Got out 3 months ago.
APB right away, armed and dangerous.
Right.
Now we know who the killer is.
Well, maybe Granger won't be running. He didn't know Cronin made that sketch.
He's gonna see the papers, isn't he?
Should we be seated here, please?
Oh, Mrs. Cronin. Thanks for identifying your husband. Must have been pretty rough on you.
It was ghastly. But those things must be done, I suppose.
You want the body sent home?
No. He chose these mountains. Let him be buried here and send me the bill.
That's out of our department. You're gonna have to take care of that yourself.
Very well. Now about the cabin and the paintings. My husband never changed his will. I'm his sole heir. Have you made provision to keep his things safe?
A couple of his friends are taking care of that.
I was so surprised on reading the papers to learn he'd become a professional artist. Well, you know where you can reach me.
Yes, indeed, Mrs. Cronin. We might need you again. You see, right next to your husband's body, we found a sketch. And it was done by your husband. Could have been the last person he saw or his murderer. We'll be in touch. Have her followed.
Yeah, I've already signed Watson the job of tailing her. You think she knows something?
She admitted reading the papers. She said nothing about the sketch.
That's funny. She wouldn't say anything about her husband's killer.
Yeah, you're so right.
Hi. 70 and a 55. Can I see your license, please?
Sorry, officer. I didn't realize I was going that fast.
It happens. Take it out, please. Nick Granger? Yeah.
Nick Granger.
$47.25 to headquarters.
Headquarters by.
Just stopped Nick Granger, heading north toward Circle City.
How'd he get away from you?
Hit me on the head while I was checking his driver's license.
You'd better come in and have the doc look you over. 10-4? 10-4. We just got a lead on Granger. He's headed north toward Circle City. 4725 stopped him for speeding, but before he could make an arrest, Granger rapped him over the head.
Roadblocks all around Circle City. We can't stop him from getting in. We'll stop him from getting out. Any reports on Mrs. Cronin?
Well, she's in town now. Got to her apartment about 3 minutes ago.
This guy, Alex Dupree, that's the one Wynn sold the Carson paintings to. I want to have a talk with him.
Where do you want to meet him?
I'll be in Circle City. Get his phone number and address, will you?
Right.
No message. Thank you. I'll call later. If they catch Granger, you and I are through, Malcolm.
Why? He's a professional killer. He won't talk.
But the police are smart. They'll know he had no connection with Jeff Carson, and we'll be as guilty as he is.
Blanche, don't be stupid. Look at all the trouble we went to in order to have Granger take care of your husband. And now...
Now I'm ready to murder someone myself?
I guess that's what I was going to say.
We can't hire another killer. There isn't time. If we don't want to be charged with murder, we'll have to kill the only man who can implicate us. They have his pictures. You've seen them yourself in the paper.
All right, if we have to do it.
That's Granger, all right.
He must be headed for the back door of the Cronin apartment.
If we pick him up now, we won't have the connection we need.
Well, that sure looks like Granger and Mrs. Cronin are in this together.
There's one thing bothering me. How did Mrs. Cronin know her husband was still alive?
You think it could have been that painting Alex Dupree showed in his gallery here in Circle City?
Well, could be. Let's break up that conversation and find out.
Still no answer.
Think of some other way to get in touch with him. Somebody who knows Granger.
You can save yourself the trouble.
What are you doing here? You know the police are looking for you, don't you?
I know.
If you'd done your job properly in the first place, my husband wouldn't have lived long enough to sketch you.
I came by for some more dough. You see, now that the police are on my tail, I figure the job's worth a lot more.
How much more?
Maybe 1,000.
If I give it to you, then what?
I can get out of the state. Maybe even out of the country.
Search him, Malcolm. Get his gun.
What are you trying to pull?
Raise your hands, please.
You finally figured out I better be dead for you to be safe.
That's the idea, Mr. Granger.
Now, look. I'm walking out of here. You just back out that door.
The place is surrounded. You can get downstairs, and that's all.
With her in front of me, I'll go all the way.
You want to bet?
Yeah, I want to bet.
Cuff him, too. It's like he pulled the trigger.
I told you, Blanche. I told you it wouldn't work.
It never does. See Highway Patrol again next week. Until then, remember, if you care to drive, drive with care. This is Bradley Crawford saying, see you next week.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, the duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state police, state troopers, militia, the rangers, or the highway patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state laws. Patrol maintains a constant vigilance to protect the lives of the citizens of the state, even to the point of special protection for certain individuals. On November 9th, the newspapers carried the story that Jack McCall, a retired gangster turned gentleman farmer, was to testify before the grand jury on November 14th. It was the Highway Patrol's job to see that McCall arrived safely.
McCall.
Yeah?
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Sure. Why not? I can't stop you.
I'm Dan Matthews, Highway Patrol. You read this?
Makes nice headlines. Personally, I don't read the paper.
I'd advise you to read this. You're due to appear in 5 days.
That's what it says?
That's what it says. They've asked us to keep an eye on you, too.
Look, Mr. Matthews, I'm not going to appear for any grand jury.
All right, have it your way.
I won't go unless they send for me, and when I get there, I haven't got a thing to say.
They can put you in jail for contempt if you don't talk.
Nah. They can't hurt me. I'm retired. I'm completely legal. All I ask is to be left alone.
Can't leave you alone. You know too many things.
I've forgotten.
How about your friends? How do they know you won't talk?
They know me. They know I don't talk.
You know enough to worry a lot of guys into not being able to take a chance that you won't talk.
I can take care of myself. I always have, always will.
Now, look, McCall, you'd make it a lot easier for me if you'd move into town and check into a hotel.
I like it here.
My job is to look after you no matter what you think.
I still like it here.
Okay, you're making it rough on me. I'm going to need more men.
If you want to go to all that trouble, you go right ahead. But I'm not leaving this ranch. You're wasting your time. Who'd want to kill me?
Houston, for one.
I haven't got anything to say, Matthews. You do your job, I'll take care of myself my own way.
Robert Wilson Houston. Businessman, legitimate businessman. Used to work for you. You taught him everything he knows.
Houston tends to his business, I tend to mine.
You know what his business is?
I suppose I do.
Well, if you were in his shoes, wouldn't you knock a guy like you up pretty quick?
I'm not in his shoes.
Okay, McCall, I'll handle the whole thing right here. Won't be easy, but that's the way it's going to have to be.
I can't stop you from guarding me.
I'm going to put a man on this ranch 24 hours a day and one guarding the entrance from the highway.
Sounds like quite an operation.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to keep a man alive. You'll have somebody with you all the time.
Do what you want.
$21.50 to station.
Go ahead, 2150.
Give me a 1020 on car 2169.
Somewhere east of Three Corners.
Tell them to get to the McCall Ranch cutoff right away. long do you think it'll take that car to reach the highway?
4 or 5 minutes, I'd say.
Have 2169 pick up a late model blue sedan that'll be at the McCall Ranch turnoff on the highway in about 4 minutes. Bring it to the ranch. Use caution. Somebody in it's armed.
10-4.
So you can take care of yourself, huh? What do you think now?
Still doesn't prove anything.
Could have gone right in your chest.
Lucky I moved.
Lucky you didn't get killed, you mean?
Like being a cop?
That's a good job.
Why do you worry about me? Most cops would be only too happy to see me get knocked off.
As far as I'm concerned, you're just Joe Citizen who needs protection. You get it like anybody else. What happens to you matters to me.
Just a job.
That's right. I'm McCall. You stay where you are. You can't be sure this guy didn't have a friend in the hills.
Claims he was hunting.
Looks like it could be the Sam 405. You're sure dressed for hunting. What were you hunting?
Deer.
Out of season?
So what? Didn't hit it.
Have you got a license?
Yeah.
Ed Kramer. You always use a 405 with a telescopic sight when you hunt deer out of season?
Look, that's my story. If I hit something around here, tell me about it.
No, you didn't hit anything. McCall, did you ever see this hunter before?
No.
All right, take him in and book him.
What charge?
Discharging firearms in an inhabited area.
Waste of my time and yours. You can't make the charge stick.
Okay. Think nobody's trying to kill you?
Maybe yes, maybe no.
I think I'll move in with you. That is, unless you say no. I'll feel a lot better if I can handle this personally.
It's all right with me. Might be a few laughs.
Laughs?
Yeah. Well, the time you cops gave me a hard time. Now you can make up for it and give me a few laughs. Mind if I see that?
No, here. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Oh, you know, this is a steel jacket slug, not the kind they used to hunt game with.
Still doesn't prove anything.
You look awful nervous.
I'd be a fool not to be.
Kramer wasn't able to do the job. No, they picked him up. And we'll try something else, but it's going to be a little tougher now that they're watching the place. Right. Right.
Would you mind waiting just a minute?
What's wrong?
We have to clear all vehicles for the McCall Ranch.
This load of hay's from McCall from Simpson Feed and Grain.
2169 to 2150. 2169 to 2150.
Thanks. 2150.
Have a load of hay here from Simpson Grain and Feed for the McCall Ranch.
2150, just a minute. McCall.
Yeah?
You expecting a load of hay?
Uh-huh. Simpson Grain and Feed.
2150. Send it in. 10-4.
Okay. Go ahead. They'll check out at the ranch.
Thank you.
Yeah?
This the one?
Yeah, I've been coming here for over 5 years.
A lot of excitement.
We don't like excitement. We like things very quiet. Let me see your identification.
Yes, sir. Usual stuff. McCall knows me.
Jimmy Wilson, you know him?
Regular driver.
Okay.
Get her unloaded, Jimmy.
Okay, Mr. McCall.
Sorry you had all this trouble.
No trouble.
You always here when Jimmy brings in the hay?
Sure, I check it in. I really run this ranch, all of it.
He don't trust me. Figures I'll hijack a bale of his hay.
Look, Matthews, whether you're here or not, I still got work to do. I gotta help this boy unload.
Okay. Call in, have to get an ambulance out here right away.
Right. 3256.
Three hand grenades concealed inside the alfalfa had been triggered by the pull on the baling wire. Jimmy Wilson had been rushed to the hospital, a critical. McCall had received a minor cut on the forehead. This was the second attempt on McCall's life, and there were still 3 days before his grand jury appearance.
McCall.
Yeah?
We're trying to find out who put the hand grenades in the truck. You still think nobody's trying to kill you?
You do your job, Copper, and I'll take care of myself no matter who's trying to do what.
I don't understand you, McCall. Somebody's trying to kill you. You know it and I know it, and you won't do anything to save your neck. Look, why don't you let me take you in town?
No, every man does what he has to do for his own reasons.
Tell me who the guys are that are gunning for you. I'll pick them up.
Sure. And instead of one guy after me, I might end up with a dozen.
I think I could think of a dozen right now. Jimmy Wilson's in the hospital. He's hurt bad. Hope nobody else gets hurt because you won't help.
We'll try again, but time's running short. We better start thinking of calling someone like Blaney in. Right. It'll be tomorrow.
Here.
All right, wise guy, what is it?
About. That's all right, it's all right. My men disarmed it.
What'd you bring it here for?
I thought maybe you'd go back into town.
You're doing a good job. I feel safe here. Sit down, relax.
2 more days and I'll relax.
You know, from your end, this is a real nothing. I'm still not going to talk to that grand jury.
That's no skin off of my nose, but you might do the state a favor.
What for?
They're keeping you alive, that's what for.
State got me into this mess.
That's where you're wrong. Got yourself into it a long time ago.
That's a souvenir of a long time ago.
Don't you know that gambling devices are against the law?
That's no gambling device. Go ahead, pull the handle. Nothing inside to make it work.
Say, whatever happened to that kid who used to run your slot machines for you? The one who thought he was big enough to take over and tried to gun you.
Oh, Roberts. Pete Roberts. He's been out a couple of months.
Highway Patrol Headquarters. It's Matthews. Put a tail on Pete Roberts. He's been out of the pen about 2 months. What? Occupation. He never had one he could mention.
Just how many guys would you put a tail on to take the heat off me?
As many as I have to. Who's trying to knock you off?
You know as much about it as I do.
Yeah, I deal with cards.
Your card playing's as bad as your personality. Still, it is kind of nice to have somebody around the house to play pinochle with.
It's kind of nice to have somebody around the house you can trust, too, isn't it?
You know, in the old days when I was running the mob, I could have used a guy like you.
You couldn't have used me. We're different.
We're the same. The organization's different. You could have been a big man by now.
Like Houston?
Maybe. He must be big. You haven't pulled him in.
You talk to the grand jury, I'll get him in fast enough. Right now, we're after the muscle, not honest Robert Wilson Houston.
All this is doing you no good. Day after tomorrow, I stand in front of that grand jury. I don't remember anything, and the heat's off me.
My job is to turn you over to the grand jury. What you do when you get there is your own choice. What about Max Jersey?
Two-bit heist man.
Don't say it so nasty. You were a two-bit heist man yourself.
I haven't seen Max in years.
You know, he might be the kind of a boy that'd hire playmates to put the finger on you.
Hasn't got brains enough.
He had brains enough to get back at you once with a knife. Highway Patrol Headquarters. This is Matthews. Max Jersey's in the state. We got a bulletin on him from Canada. Never goes out without a gun. He can't get a permit. Shake him down. Right.
You're sure giving me the royal treatment. Seems like I ought to do something to help. Jerry Redmond. I once took 100 grand off him in a crab game.
How'd you get out of his joint with that kind of money?
I was with friends.
Oh. Highway Patrol Headquarters. This is Matthews. See if Jerry Redmond's up at Lake Thunderbird at that seafood place of his. He had a stick up there a couple of weeks ago. Tell him I got some suspects I want him to look over, will you? Call me back on it. Right. What are you laughing at?
You pulling in Jerry Redmond. That hands me a laugh. I never did like that guy.
What about the 100 grand?
Oh, it never happened. But the thought of that slob sweating when you pull him in, that's good for plenty of laughs. Come on. Want to get a little fresh air. No use objecting. You remember I told you I was going to move around like I pleased?
Okay.
$10,000 now, Blaney, and $10,000 when you finish the job.
Big money. Houston must want him bad.
Big money for a tough job. McCall's joint is sealed tight by the law. We don't care how, but we want him stretched out.
Well, let me show you the plan. They got a patrol car blocking the road to the ranch. Now, the car's parked here, with a cop at the wheel and another one standing here. Now, I'll send in a grocery truck. I'll be in the back. As it pulls up to the patrol car, I'll jump out the back and have the drop on both of them. At the same time that happens, another car will come up. I'll go on up to the ranch while one of the boys holds the patrolman.
How about your getaway?
Saint's got it all worked out.
Okay, if it'll work.
It'll work. But tell me, why not get him on the way to the grand jury?
Too risky. We won't know what car he's in or when he goes. And if we miss, we'll never get another chance.
We won't miss.
I hate to wake you up, but I think you better keep moving around out here. You know about guns and how hard it is to hit a moving target, don't you?
Hey, you're pretty good.
Thanks. Tonight. Tomorrow and tomorrow night. That doesn't leave him much chance to take pot shots at you, does it?
You're more nervous than I am.
McCall, you're right. Because if they kill you, I failed. I've messed up everything.
That's important to you.
Yes, very important.
Does what I can tell or not tell mean so much?
Look, McCall, we know a lot about crime in this state. We know about the bottom of the pyramid and how it works. We know about the rest of it, too, about the narcotics and the gambling. And the money moves on up to the bigger people. From there to the biggest, and they invest it in legitimate business. Then we're stuck. We know who the top men are. We can only get to them to the bottom.
Sounds like a mighty smart business operation.
It is. And you organize the entire state.
That's what they say.
Now, look, we can't whip it. We can't whip it without the help of a fellow like yourself, who knows the operation from top to bottom, where the money goes, how it's invested, who gets what.
I sound important.
Yeah, you are. And my only worry is to get you where you can tell the people about it. Once I deliver you, it's their worry how they get it out of you. I'm going to go check with Jennings.
Don't make a move and nobody will get hurt. Put your hands up and don't try anything funny.
How's everything, all right?
Quiet.
But you better call Franklin.
3256 to 2169. 3256 to 2169. Come in.
Call headquarters right away. Tell them to send 2 cars to the McCall Ranch turnoff. Maybe Franklin's in trouble. We'll go ahead as planned.
Hold them here. This won't take us long.
Give me the keys.
What's up?
You've handled a gun before. You ought to know what's up.
The car on the way up to the ranch.
All right, fine. I'll take McCall with me. It might be a false alarm. We can't take any chances.
Right.
Jennings, you stay here, man.
It's already been mapped out. Come on. All right, drop it.
You mean we're going in alone?
Well, I've got an escort. We'll pick him up at the highway. I'd feel awful embarrassed if I had to tell the grand jury you got killed on the way in.
Yeah, especially after what you went through to deliver me.
Well, like I've been telling you for the past 5 days, it's a job.
Do you mind if I say something?
No, go right ahead.
I think you will want to know this. When I go in, I'm going to talk. Lay it on the line.
Why the change of heart?
Oh, I don't know whether it's out of gratitude for what you've done or respect for what you've done.
No, respect. That's a pretty nice word. After you talk to the grand jury, maybe you'll have more self-respect. You know, I got to admit it. I'm very happy that you're going to talk.
Why?
I want to be proud that I kept you alive, that's all. Get in. The Highway Patrol story next week is a very unusual one. We hope you'll be with us. Until then, remember, the clowns at the circus, they're real funny. But on the highway, they're murder. This is Roderick Crawford saying see you next week.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state police, state troopers, militia, the rangers, or the highway patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state laws. Cooperation on the part of law enforcement agencies everywhere plays a vital part in detection of crime and apprehension of the criminal. During May, an outbreak of crime near the Mexican border emphasized the importance of such cooperation.
All right, lady, get out of that car and start moving down the hill.
Same MO again. Man standing in the road with a stop sign, waving a red flag.
And the woman stopped her car, and that's it?
Yeah, that was it. And that makes 5 in the last 2 weeks.
Did you get a description?
Well, no, it was pretty general, like most of the others. She was too scared to be much help.
Well, I can understand that when you got a gun pointed at you.
I put out an APB in her car. Do you want to talk to the woman?
No, I got another idea. How far is it to the border?
About 3 miles.
Why don't you stay with this case? I'm going into Mexico and talk to Captain Gonzalez.
Hi there. Get out of the car. Well, what's wrong? Get out of the car.
Hal, please, do as he says.
And you go with him.
Okay, mister, what's next?
Take a walk. Start walking in that direction and don't bother to look back. You might get yourself shot for your trouble.
Hal, come on. Don't do anything foolish, darling. Come on, let's go. Come on.
Buenos dias, Dan.
Hello, how are you?
Let's sit down.
Sure.
Nice to see you in Mexico, even if it's an official business.
Well, I might as well get down to cases. We've run into an epidemic of stolen cars right close to your border.
I know. I posted a list of your stolen cars at all our checkpoints.
The MO is always the same. Fellow's got a road worker stop sign and a red flag. When the victim stops, he pulls a gun on him, and that's it.
I see.
You know, we haven't even got a good description of this guy.
Have any of the cars been recovered?
No, they seem to drop out of sight completely, so, well, there's only one explanation.
Do you think that the thieves have found a way of getting the cars into Mexico?
Yeah, that's about it. That's why I wanted you to meet me here, so we can see what happened. Also, we can't be seen.
We'll be happy to help you then. My entire highway patrol is at your service.
Thanks a lot, Julio. We'll be in touch with you.
In the meantime, I'll contact my men in Mexico City.
Yeah, that's the logical place, all right. Small cars are in demand down there.
We'll check around.
Good. Thanks a lot.
You bet.
It all happened so fast. We weren't sure just what the man looked like.
Well, I try to think. Did he have light hair or dark hair?
I don't know. It made me pretty mad, and I might have tried to jump him if it hadn't been for Nora.
Oh, Mrs. Franks was right. If you try to jump a man with a gun pointed at you, it'd be a big mistake. Excuse me a minute. 3016 to 2150.
2150, bye.
Hold up and stolen car on Highway 26. Victim's now at the Price Place junction of Granada Way.
I'll be there right away. 10-4?
10-4. I got out an APB on the stolen car.
Did you get a good description of the suspect?
No, not good. They can't quite agree on it.
Let's see if we can pin it down.
Mr. and Mrs. Franks, this is Mr. Matthews, the Highway Patrol.
How do you do?
Mr. Matthews?
Mr. and Mrs. Franks, this is the second car that's been stolen in this area today.
Now, it could be the same man. It could be two different people.
Or an organized gang of car thieves.
No, it was just one man that robbed us.
Well, we need a good description of that man.
Well, as I said, I was pretty mad.
That's not going to identify him. Now think. What did he look like?
He wasn't as tall as I am, I know that. But I can't be sure about his face or the color of his hair. All I could see was that gun pointed straight at us.
How about you?
Well, I've been trying to picture his face again, just as it looked on the road. I think Hal is right. He was smaller than he is.
Well, was he wearing a hat?
Yes, he was.
Oh, what kind?
Well, it was a soft blue cap. That's why I couldn't tell what color his hair was.
How about his clothes?
Well, he had a brown leather jacket, a blue shirt, and brown pants.
Anything else? Any scars? Did he have a mustache?
No, he didn't have a mustache.
If you saw this man again, would you know him?
Yes, I'd know him. I'm sure of it. I'd remember the way he looked at Hal. I thought he was going to shoot him.
Let's talk about the car. Any holes in the upholstery?
I don't think so.
Anything spilled on the floor that might mark it?
Oh, no, we've been very careful.
Is there anything special about the car that would help us identify it?
Well, I gave him the color and the year and make and the license number.
I would suppose that in a couple of hours your car's painted a different color. It's got new plates, new registration. How would you know it if you saw it again?
Well, there's a dent in the rear fender.
Well, that could be straightened out.
Oh, and I guess I don't know. Wait a minute. I do know how I could identify the car.
How?
Our youngster used to play with a cigarette lighter. We were afraid he'd burn himself, so I disconnected the cigarette lighter and taped the ends.
Well, that gives us something to go on. We'll try and get your car back for you. Thanks very much. Come on.
You folks wait here. There'll be a man after my car. He'll drive you into town.
Hey, it looks like a really nice, clean job.
You said it. The motor's smooth as silk. Top price for this one.
Yeah, looks good. Any problems?
No, man and wife. Where's the other one?
Oh, we've got it out already.
Good.
Curtis is on the phone. He's standing by in Guadalupe. What do you want me to tell him?
Now, let me see. It'll take about 4 hours to get this baby dressed for traveling, which should bring you to Guadalupe about 3:30. Tell him this one's Class A.
Okay.
And that means you've no time to loaf. This one's perfect except for the paint job, so get out your spray gun and go to work.
The two automobile thefts in one day gave Dan Matthews an opportunity to put his theory to a test. With the cooperation of the Mexican Highway Patrol, it might be possible to discover whether or not there was an outlet across the border for these stolen cars.
How are we doing? We have set up roadblocks at these points. Here, here, and here. And in some cases, double roadblocks.
Good.
There's nothing anyone can do with a stolen car in this section. They have to go south to find a market.
Yeah, that's right.
All this, of course, is based on the possibility that the thieves are bringing the cars into Mexico to sell. Which, under ordinary circumstances, is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, I know that. Look, the holdup occurred right here, but this time I think we got a little luck.
Past report?
Yeah, the victims were picked up by a passing motorist. They flagged the highway patrol car 5 minutes after the robbery.
Highway 26, that's somewhat of an isolated area.
And in 10 minutes, we had that whole area completely sealed off.
Now, if they didn't hide the car in a haystack, there's only one place to take it. That's across the border.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Look, by the time they've changed the serial number, repainted it, and sold it to somebody in Mexico, we're going to have a tough time finding it. There is a little hope, though.
What?
The cigarette lighter behind the dash has been disconnected and taped. Boy, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel on this one.
I'll have my men advise of that. In the meantime, there's nothing we can do here. Shall we check roadblocks?
Can we use your undercover car?
All right.
Let's go.
I tell you, it's a waste of time changing those tires. And it cuts down the profits, too.
And it cuts down on the possibility of all of us winding up in the clink.
I think you worry too much.
The paint dry?
Sure.
I'll put the new registration certificate in the holder, and I've got a Mexican entry permit to match.
I still say you worry too much.
What goes?
Dave thinks it's a waste of time and money to change tires and have permits printed.
Oh, well, that's one of the troubles with Dave. He can only see as far as the end of his nose.
Look, you...
You look. Suppose Joe, owner of this car, drove it through some nice soft ground near his house, and the cops pick up the tire prints.
And suppose they check those prints against the tires on this car.
Not a chance.
There's always a chance. Besides, you don't risk meeting a roadblock in one of these cars, Davy boy. I do.
What are you giving me? The only place they check these cars is at border checkpoints. And you're already in Mexico.
So what?
So what? You haven't hit a roadblock in Mexico since we've been working this deal.
There's always the first time. That's why we have to catch every possible identification point and wipe it out. We can't afford to overlook a single bet.
Well, any luck?
The boys found a cigarette lighter out of order, all right, but it turned out to be one of those foreign cars.
Well, they might be able to change the color of the car, but I'm sure they can't change the size of it.
Outside of that, everything seems to be pretty well covered. Let's check other blocks, huh?
Okay.
Well, the paint's okay.
Everything's shipshape. I don't think we've missed a single bet. Well, it's all yours. Watch your step.
Don't worry, I'll see you later.
Let's get to work on the one in the barn. I want it ready by the time Yvonne gets back.
Oh, can't we wait until tomorrow? I'm bushed.
I can't afford to keep a stolen car a minute longer than I have to.
Okay, let's get to work.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry to inconvenience you like this, but we have to examine every car that passes this way today.
Sounds exciting. Has there been a robbery?
Something along that line. Would you mind stepping out of the car for a moment?
Oh, no, not at all. Thank you.
May I see your driver's license and entry permit?
Yes, of course.
Check the cigarette lighter.
Mrs. Yvonne Hooper, San Francisco.
That's right.
Do you own the car, Mrs. Hooper?
No, my husband does. But I own my husband, so I guess I own the car.
What is your destination in Mexico?
Mexico City. It's a wonderful place.
It is indeed. Staying very long?
Well, it depends on how much time off my husband can get. He's meeting me next week.
Thank you, Miss Hooper. I hope you enjoy your visit in Mexico.
This could be it. The tape lighter. The car checks out.
I don't believe we have to detain you any longer. Everything all right?
Yeah, everything's all right now.
You may go now, Mrs. Hooper. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry we detained you.
It's quite all right.
You found something?
A disconnected lighter with taped ends.
Could it be a coincidence?
Well, we gotta be sure. She had an entry permit, didn't she?
Yes, it indicated she went through the border about 2 hours ago.
And we should call the border, see if it's legitimate. In the meantime, let's see what she does with the car and where she goes. I'll bet she doesn't take the same road and go through the same roadblock.
No, but it'll be easy to keep track of her now. I'll put a tail on the stolen car till we find out who gets her and who sells it.
Okay.
I'm going to have them discontinue the roadblocks and follow close behind. Habla Capitán González. Descontinúen el bloqueo. Sí, y síganos de cerca. Esperen órdenes. I wonder where she's going. We're only a few miles from the border.
Looks like we found their hideout.
Capitán González, a carros de patrulla número 1 y número 2. Estacionen sus automóviles cerca del mío y luego prosigan hacia el bosque.
Have any trouble?
No, but I think they're getting wise. I went through a couple of tough roadblocks.
I don't like that. Neither do I. This'll hold us for a while. We'll let things cool off a bit.
I'll be right back.
You in the barn! Come on out with your hands up! Get across that clearing, that's for sure.
I got tear gas bombs in one of the other cars. Sanchez, trae las bombas lacrimosas.
Well, this one's dead.
I'll get the coroner an ambulance. Look at that, King.
Thanks for your help, Julio.
It was a pleasure.
You know, I wish you'd have stolen my car. It needs a new paint job. See Highway Patrol again next week. Until then, remember, reckless driving doesn't determine who's right, only who's left. This is Roderick Crawford saying, see you next week.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state police, troopers, militia, the rangers, or the highway patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state laws. Boundaries are just imaginary lines on a map, not strong enough to contain a criminal or to prevent his movement from town to town. It's the job of the Highway Patrol to augment those boundaries, to give them muscle and substance, to prevent crimes if possible, to capture criminals when necessary. 4 days ago, a man known as the Hypo Bandit began to operate in this state. His method, knock his victim into unconsciousness, inject a knockout drop to keep him out for several hours, then empty the till and make the getaway. On May 16th, Charles Alden became victim number 4.
Where's Doc Howard? He's already been here. Took a blood specimen from Alden.
All right, take it easy. Come on. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. We're on your side.
I'm sorry. I thought you were the guy that slugged me.
Did you get a good look at him?
I never knew what hit me. I feel like somebody slipped me a Mickey.
How long have you been out of commission?
What time is it?
It's 2 o'clock.
Whoever he is, he sure packs a mean wallop. The last thing I remember was about 10 o'clock.
How much did you get away with?
Where's my cash box?
It's empty.
There was $4,000 in that cash box. How come it took you so long to get here?
After the bandit had emptied your till, he locked the front door, put up your close sign. One of your customers happened to look in the window and spotted your feet sticking out behind the display.
Any customers in the store before you got clobbered?
Nobody. Well, a young lady came in and asked for an Aleutian mink cape. I told her I didn't have one in stock and I'd get her one. She said not to bother. She couldn't wait.
Did you ever see her before?
No. Say, how'd that crook get in here? I had my eye on the front door all the time.
What about the back door?
Could be.
Don't you keep it locked?
Mr. Matthews, in a town the size of Woodmere, who locks doors?
Let's see if you can get up.
Joe,
Yeah?
I'm sorry he didn't have an Aleutian mink cape.
I wouldn't have touched it if he did. Right now, all we're taking is cash. If you want a mink cape, I'll buy you one.
Were you really?
Sure. You're my wife, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Oh, if Mom could see us now.
That pain in the neck.
Said you'd never amount to much, that you were wasting my time. I don't think it's so much of a waste, do you, Joe?
What do you think I think?
I never figured I'd fall in love with anybody as smart as you.
You're no slouch yourself, baby.
Oh, I'm not so smart. I still can't figure out why you use the needle. Why get so fancy when all you have to do is knock 'em out and tie 'em up?
Look, I told you once, I'll tell you again, and then no more. Now, these towns are kind of spread out. We need time to get from one place to another in order to get lost.
Well, so knock 'em out. You're strong.
Yeah? So what happens if they don't stay knocked out long enough? All of a sudden they raise a big holler, and the police raise a big roadblock.
Oh, the needle is good for 4 hours.
At least.
How are you, Doc? Hoping I'd find you here, Dan.
What did you find out?
Same as the other 3, Aconitum apellora. That's a very exotic name for a drug that can kill.
So far, it's 1 out of 4.
Could have been 4 out of 4.
Why do you say that?
Well, the needle marks look like the work of an amateur. You know, this drug injected into the skin can cause unconsciousness. But into a vein or an artery, that's what happened to the antique dealer.
What do you mean by amateur?
Well, he must have been in a position to have access to the drug somewhere, but he never used it professionally. He couldn't recognize a vein or an artery.
You know, I think it's time we told the Hypo Bandit what he's doing.
How?
I'll take the wraps off the story. Maybe we can force him into a wrong move of some kind.
I hope so.
Just checked the bulletin you sent on the drug.
Any replies?
They sent that bulletin to every hospital, institution, drug house, and police precinct within 1,000 miles.
Send out a follow-up. That drug came from someplace, and I want to know where. After that, get in touch with headquarters. Have them contact press, radio, and TV, and ask them to give us full coverage.
Right.
It's time for you to start checking the classified section.
What do I look for this time? Another fur shop?
No. Jewelry stores in Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah. It's only 10 miles from here. Come on, let's go. Here's your classified. Start looking.
Hi. Radio, TV, and press are giving you maximum coverage on the story.
Oh, thanks.
That hypo band is clever. We arrive at the scene of the crime 4 hours after the crime has been committed. Too late to put up a roadblock.
Yeah, no fingerprints, no witnesses, nothing. He can be long gone by this time.
All his targets are luxury stores.
Here, take a look. Ashton, you got a jewelry store, $1,200.
Malvern, an antique shop, $1,500 in a murder.
Here in Woodmere, a fur shop, $4,000. It's $6,700 in about 4 days.
Notice how he's traveling, east to west.
Yeah, he could be over the state line in another day or so, unless he stops at Amity or Wilson on the way. What's your guess?
I don't know. Could be either one or both. We got a lead in that aconitum. Merriwell Home reports a 6cc vial of aconitum apelluria missing from the drug supply room.
Where's the home?
Just across the state line in Bushton.
Bushton. Give me the Merriwell home.
6 cc's, and according to Doc, that's enough for 2 more shots, and either one or both could be lethal.
Yeah.
Jewelry stores.
We should be able to find one that fits the pattern.
And a beautiful pattern it is. One man in a store, and a store that has a back door. Joe, how come you're so smart? You never even went to college.
College is a racket like everything else.
The Highway Patrol has just released the news of the operation of a hypo bandit in this state. He has struck 4 times in Ashton, Malvern, Lawrence, and Woodmere. One of the victims, Mark Stone, an antique dealer in Malvern, died from the injection of an unidentified drug. Listen to our regular news program for the complete story.
I thought you said no one could get hurt.
Oh, that's a trick to make me quit, to lay off.
You're not just saying that, are you, Joe?
All the time I was at the home, not one person died from it, and they used it plenty.
Let's quit, Joe. We have enough.
What do you mean, enough? We're going for the big bundle. Police don't know who we are. They don't know how we're traveling. Besides, this car's registered in your name, your maiden name.
How'd they know about the drug?
Blood test. Look, if you want to quit now, you can go back to your old lady. We're through.
Oh, no, Joe, I'm with you. Whatever you say.
I say a jewelry store, and you pick it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Right. Thanks very much. That aconitum disappeared within the past couple of weeks. 3 employees quit during that time. A janitor, a secretary, and an attendant. Here are the descriptions.
Laura Green, Charles Brandt, and Joe Varnum.
Green and Viant quit. They weren't making enough money.
What about Joe Varnum?
Just got married. He'll return after the honeymoon.
All of them with legitimate reasons.
Yeah, I better contact criminal records on him. Then get in touch with the Bushton police.
Right.
If you want me, I'll be in Amity or Wilson. Call Doc Howard. Tell him I'll pick him up. I might have a patient for him.
Or a corpse. How'd it go?
Fine. It's the last store. Only one man. He's old and hard of hearing. He's repairing a watch. There's a back door, but I think it's closed.
Well, then what's the point?
The point is I had to knock on the counter to get him to look up. He won't hear you coming in. And the other stores are no good.
Okay. Be back in a minute. Smile, baby. You look pretty that way. Beautiful.
A home for the aged in a nearby state supplied the first clue against the hypo bandit. A probable source for his knockout drug, and the names of 3 people who had left the home when the drug was stolen.
Headquarters to 2150. Headquarters to 2150.
2150 by.
Bushton police report that Charles Bryant and Laura Green still in town. Continuing to check Joseph Varnum. DMV reports no cars listed to any of the suspects. 10-4.
10-4.
What is it, Joe? What went wrong?
The old guy's dead.
The hypo?
No, it couldn't have been. It must have been something else. His heart. Yeah, that's it, his heart.
That radio was telling the truth. Joe, we're in trouble. Big trouble.
Not yet. They have to catch us first.
What is it, Joe? What's wrong?
A roadblock, but it's not for us.
Well, how can you be sure?
Well, I can't. Look, give me the money in the hypo kit. Here.
You want me to drive?
Yeah, alone.
You running out?
Look, there's more than 13 grand in that trunk. Does that sound like I'm running out?
I'm not thinking of the money, Joe.
Holy cow, what a time you pick for playing it cute. Now listen to me, this is insurance. Stay on this road for exactly 15 miles. Check it on your speedometer. I'll meet you 1 mile past the second gas station on the right, after the 15-mile mark. Now be sure and pull the car off the road.
But, Joe, how will you get there?
I'll hitch a ride.
But why?
I told you, insurance in case the cops come looking. Now look, I don't have a thing on me. And you, well, look, you're visiting an aunt. Now play it cool. Remember, cops are just people. And give me 5 minutes to get to the top of that hill, and then you start moving. Okay?
Okay.
I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye, baby.
Funny it's closed this early in the afternoon. We better check it.
Okay.
What's the matter, officer?
May I see your driver's license, please? Would you mind stepping out of the car? Need a medicine?
Yes.
You don't live here.
No.
What are you doing here?
I'm on vacation, and I'm going to visit my aunt in Centerville.
Would you open the trunk, please?
What's this all about, officer?
Oh, just checking, ma'am. The trunk. Thanks, ma'am.
Anything else?
No, that's all. Sorry to have bothered you. You can pull your car on mine.
I'd say we're about 15 minutes behind the killer.
$21.50 to headquarters.
Headquarters by. We've been trying to reach you.
All right, first send the coroner and lab boys to Eugene's jewelry store in Wilson. All right, now what do you got for me?
A new communique from Bushton. Police reveals marriage license was issued to Joseph Varnum and Anita Madison 6 days ago. Anita Madison is 25, brunette, brown eyes, 5'3", 115 pounds. DMV lists a blue convertible. Owned by Anita Madison. License, Marie Louise John, 743.
Re-alert all units to be on the lookout for them. They could be traveling together or separately. They're wanted on suspicion of murder. I want roadblocks on all highways leading to the eastern state line. 10-4?
10-4. Headquarters to 2150.
2150 by.
3310 at roadblock on Highway 58, 3 miles east of Wilson, reports Anita Madison passed checkpoint less than 15 minutes ago. She was alone.
Rendezvousing with 3310. You said there was nobody with the Madison girl.
Right. The car was empty and the trunk was empty.
Nobody came through answering Varnum's description?
That's right.
No highways cut into this one between here and Wilson. Maybe you walked around this roadblock and hitched a ride. You better stay here in case you still hold up in Wilson. 2150 to headquarters.
Headquarters by.
Varnum might be hitchhiking. Alert all units and roadblocks. 10-4?
10-4.
I got by that cop okay?
Yeah, I saw it from the top of the hill. We're in the clear. I told you we'd make it. Come on, let's go.
After us?
We'll soon find out.
Oh, no.
Get out. Now look worried. Something's wrong with the engine. Maybe the cops will help us fix it so they're not too busy.
Joe, what are you doing?
Stand still and be quiet. Officer, do you mind giving us a hand? Our motor's acting up.
You're doing a little acting up yourself, aren't you?
I got you covered with a gun, too, cop. Now turn around and move off.
Using your wife for a shield? I don't buy that.
You'll have to. Now move off or I start shooting.
Hey, Doc, come here.
You'd better call for the coroner.
I thought he loved me.
All right, let's go. To headquarters.
Headquarters, bye.
Varnum case closed. Send out the coroner.
Will do. 2150, return to headquarters soon as possible. Urgent. 10-4?
10-4. Here we go again. See Highway Patrol again next week. Until then, remember, it isn't what you drive, but how you drive that counts. This is Broderick Crawford saying, see you next week.